Long time no see, everybody. This is the Dinosaur. It's been a while. Haven't been posting as much as I'd like. I'm just kind of like an update on things. I'm treating this as like a new kind of soft launch to the channel. I'm going to keep doing MMA content. I really want to jump around, cover a multitude of sports, fighting, football, baseball, Formula One. Not a big hoops guy. I'm going to touch on it a little bit in this video. But all in all, I'm not going to be a basketball channel. Soccer too. I'd like to get into do soccer stuff too. Anyway, I just think kind of jumped the gun there, fired off a little bit half cocked. Trying to be better with the visuals, but still working on it. Not a skill I have completely unlocked. So that'll be work in progress. And yeah, hopefully you stick with me. Hopefully we like what I'm putting out here. So today I kind of want to do a video. And it's about the paradox that is data in sports. So I'm not one of these old heads that's just going to stare, oh, no, you can't fucking use data in sports. That's a bad idea. Well, that's dumb. It's pretty undeniable that just look at baseball, look at basketball, even soccer. It's really starting to proliferate there, too. The teams that are more data-driven tend to be the teams that do better. Whether that be in championships, like you see with the Dodgers or like Liverpool in soccer, or it could be more like what is a club's definition of success, like the Rays. It's really hard for them to win a championship, but being competitive year in and year out, that's a big deal for them. Same with like Brentford or Brighton in the Premier League. That's their definition of success. So it varies, but the teams who imply it, their definition of success generally grows the more they do implement data in anything. So that isn't the video. I guess the video today is I want to dive into kind of a meta question that I've been thinking about for a while, and that is the more data dictates how sports are played, the more boring people find the games. Now you're probably thinking, I don't know what you're thinking. Anyway, don't know where the fuck I was going with that. But I guess I'm going to talk about this quite a bit with baseball. I'm going to touch onto it with soccer and basketball. Because what happens in baseball happens in basketball in probably like 5 to 10 years. I don't know. They're behind the evolutionary curve of baseball, but I don't know how many years, but they are. They're going down that same path. And soccer is behind basketball. So they're all in various stages of this life cycle. And I do know baseball the best. So that's the sport I'm going to kind of dive into in full force. And also, like I said, it's kind of furthest down this evolutionary path of really implementing stats, really making that how the product on the field is dictated. And I guess the best way I can summarize what I'm really getting at is in a vacuum, the data tells you the most efficient way to win the game. But sports isn't played in a vacuum. It isn't just behind closed doors for sports books to bet on, and the result isn't the only thing that matters. It's the process. Sports at the end of the day isn't entertainment. It is a competition, but it is a form of entertainment. You're competing for people's time, and people don't want to spend their time boring sports. So let's get into it with baseball. I'm not saying baseball is a boring sport, but it's a hell of a lot more boring when everyone is playing 3 true outcome ball. All right, so here's some attendance figures for you. I did the 20 years prior and the 20 years after the 2003 Oakland A's run, as seen in the movie Moneyball. I didn't know a hard cutoff as to when most teams would have that kind of philosophy implemented. And I know there's still a few holdouts right now, like the Rockies and the White Sox. And I mean, they should probably implement witch doctors as much as they should mathematicians, as fucked as they are. That's why I kept it pretty wide. It's pretty hard to pin down, I guess, at what exact moment the majority of the league operated in this fashion. Here are some high-level average attendance. This is as a league, by the way. This isn't team. So as you can see, more people on average go to a game after Moneyball. There's a lot that goes into that. There were less teams back then. The Rockies, the Marlins, the Rays. I feel like somebody else is pretty new. Anyway, yeah, so there were less teams back then. Someone's going to call me fucking casual for that, but it is what it is. But then I got to thinking, what's a better measure of the impact? Also, stadium sizes, a lot of new, nicer stadiums, bigger stadiums. I don't know about bigger, actually. Anyway, so I then pivoted and said, well, how many years was there year-on-year growth or there year-on-year decline? As you can see just by these basic little numbers here, the years of growth are a lot more than the years of decline, pre-Moneyball, and there is a few more years of decline than growth after it. And then here is just a chart over time. Again, it's millions. The left side's all fucked up. Still figuring out R. So anyway, I guess I made it pretty quick. But as you can see, for the most part, it's going up. I also omitted the 2000 or 2020 and 2021 data just because it's a COVID year. Some teams didn't let anybody in. Some teams let everybody in. Some people let some in. So it was pretty cooked in terms of data we could use for this. So I left it out. Anyway, here is the pre-2003, the pre-Moneyball attendance trends league on league. As you can see, we kind of have our peak right there of the, I think it's probably the home run chase, the Maguire-Sosa deal right there. That's probably what I would chalk that up to. But it's pretty considerable growth. And then here's the post-2003 data. It shoots up there. I really couldn't tell you why it shoots up there. I'd have to do more. I'd have to do more research, and then as you can see, it goes down pretty considerably. I remember hearing a lot of, talking heads popping off about MLB attendance going down in the late 2010s. Ugh, that feels weird to say. Anyway, I remember that, and then we have that low year coming out of COVID, but things are still generally down. I guess, well, you're going to see this graph for a minute, so I kind of want to ponder this for a moment. I think you're seeing that proliferation, right? You're seeing, think of the teams that were good at that time. You had the Astros. They actually didn't strike out that much. I can't blame them too much on it. But it's kind of one of those things where the people who do it well are fun to watch, but then the people who don't are fucking boring. A great example of that is like in martial arts, Charles Oliveira is awesome to watch wrestle, but some jabroni on the undercard that's going to wet blanket on top of somebody is fucking boring to watch wrestling. And I think that Astros are kind of a good example of that philosophy in baseball. Granted, they're fucking cheaters and I hate them, but they were good. A lot of their guys have hit well before and hit well after. So the Astros were good. They hit for power. They walked. And, they punched a lot of guys out. They shifted that very progressive, that like Brian Kenny style baseball that people were really big on back then. I mean, there still are, but the rules have kind of curtailed what you can do. Like we're bringing in a new pitcher every 10 pitches and stuff like that. They were kind of the kings of that game. But they were good at it, so they're fun to watch. But when you have who's just mediocre back then, just some mid-ass team. I don't want to diss anybody, but you know what I mean. When you have average baseball players trying to play a very difficult way, you get numbers of when second basemen are punching out hundreds of times a year. Before it would be Adam fucking Dunn was the only guy that would punch out that much. And now everybody is. And it got boring. And I think it's because front offices were thinking, and to some extent rightly so, what is the most efficient way and what is the most cost-effective way to win a game. And this is what is what it is. But it doesn't sell. Go to basketball real quick. And I just want to touch on one thing, and this isn't just me kind of talking out my ass here. I decided to do a t-test. I did a simulation. I think it was 300 times. I had the standard deviation of 2, and it was so plus 10 for the year, 10 years of increase before, minus 3 for the years of negative growth after. And I did a t-test to see if there's statistical significance here between that break in 2003. And yeah, the p-value is microscopic. Reject the null hypothesis. There is something happening here. I'm not an expert. This is actually something I'm in school for right now, so I'm still kind of getting my head around it. I'm still getting better at it, but I thought it'd be pretty fun to do. And it does seem to be pretty statistically significant that what happened after 2003 is very different than what happened before it. And that is what happened in 2003. I mean, granted, I remember this could just be my bias as a kid, but I remember there were more like baseball cultures, not like there were more baseball cultures in the zeitgeist. You have people like Derek Jeter, Big Papi, A-Rod. Fuck, they're still the most popular baseball players. Like Mike Trout, the guy's a stud, but he's a bit of an NPC. Not exactly a billboard personality, and he has chose to piss his career away in obscurity. There's no other way to put it. It is unspeakable that arguably the best player of all time, we all have as many World Series rings, and I think postseason wins too. I could be mistaken on that, but I'm almost positive we're all tied on that together. Sorry, bit of a tangent, but because I do think that contributes to that peak there. So that definitely is an aspect of maybe people not going as much to, but it is undeniable the style of play has changed dramatically in baseball. Anyone who watches the game can tell you to that. And here, we got a little t-test telling you things are very different after 2003 than they were before. But baseball is the only sport. And here is a shot chart from basketball. I'm prefaced by saying I'm not the biggest basketball fan. I do follow it somewhat. And the shot charts really changed. I mean, there weren't that. I mean, there were a lot of kind of mid-range shots there. And I think, growing up, what are some shots you remember? You remember Kobe Bryant backing a guy down, turn around, knocks down the shot. Same with like Dirk Nowitzki. That was a shot people my age, most people, grew up seeing, and it's gone. And this isn't just me talking, oh, the game has changed. Everyone has been talking since Christmas that the NBA ratings are in the bin. Nobody is watching. Nobody. And part of this, this is a separate issue of, I think, how the over officiating kills sports. And I think that might be my next video. But anyway, again, what did people figure out was the most effective way to win a basketball game? It was the most efficient way to score. It's either you shoot threes, specifically kind of direct threes, or in the corner, and in the low paint, low post, or free throws. Those aren't on the chart because they're not really shots; they're kind of different. But those are the most efficient ways of scoring. And another example of someone who's really good at this, making this fun, is James Harden. It's exactly how James Harden plays, but he was, and to some extent still is, so good at it. It was fun. That's how the Golden State Warriors were. They were the first team that was like, fuck it, we're going to bring the rain on you. And they were great. It was fun to watch the Warriors play. No one had seen a team like that. Sure, you had Ray Allen in the past, but now you have two guys who are as good, if not better than Ray Allen, playing together. That was fun. But when you got career, journeymen, you got Markieff Morris hucking up threes. Sorry to catch a stray, man. You were just like the first kind of journeyman basketball player. I think you were on like a 2K career ahead. Yeah, but like journeyman basketball players hucking up threes, it's like they have other skills. This ain't it. You're putting a square peg in a round hole. And that's what you see in a lot of NBA games today. That's what the shot charts back up. You see players just hucking up shots that maybe aren't their best way of scoring, but is the best way of scoring. So it's kind of how everybody plays. Basketball has suffered from that too. And the last sport, this is kind of a dumb little image, but I think it's kind of funny because creativity in modern soccer compared to your generations past is not found. And I actually thought soccer would be the last sport that this would happen to because it's so random. So many things can happen at any given moment in a soccer game. It's very hard to quantify. Like both baseball and basketball, at any given time, there's always a very finite number of things that can happen. So it's pretty easy to count things, measure things along that. What am I trying to say? Things along that line. Anyway, and soccer is very fluid. But that's changing. I mean, the whole XG is a big thing in soccer. I am not as fluent in soccer analytics as I am baseball analytics. But that being said, a great example of that are two players who, if you watch soccer, you know nothing of the stats. You're like, yeah, they're not that good. Gabriel Jesus, Darwin Nunez, the striker for Arsenal and Liverpool, respectively, two of the most successful teams in England historically. What is the primary job of a center forward, historically speaking, through soccer history for 150 years, is to score. What can those two not do? Score. Oh, they got great XG. Everyone expects with XG that these guys will return to the median. That just might not be the case. Maybe they're just fundamentally bad at shooting. Sorry, that's a tangent. I'm going on. But XG is a very kind of like, and it's like if you told somebody you were to OPS plus in baseball, you know, it's one of those kind of deals, you know. And as a result, you kind of see this reimagining of players. Like 15 years ago, you have a guy like those two. Sure, he dribbles well and he's fast. Okay, cool. He can play on the wing. He isn't going to play down the middle. No one would have thought this is the guy to lead our line. That just wouldn't have crossed people's minds. And people are like, oh, it's because they play this possession-based, pressing soccer. Yeah, Arsene Wenger played possession-based soccer at Arsenal. He could still get 15 goals out of Giroud. Okay, this isn't a new, I don't know, possession soccer isn't a new thing. Also, Man United like to be on the ball quite a bit under Ferguson, but I digress. And I guess what's curious about that in soccer is it's such like a central thing. I don't know. But as a result, you see a lot more like systems are more prevalent in soccer. It's less about, oh, we have a Ronaldinho type that can just say, hell with you. I'm taking all three of you on. You know, maybe you get me twice, but on the time I get you, it's me on me with the keeper, and he can't stop me. There's none of that. And this is anecdotal, but as you could probably tell where my bias of soccer club comes in, is Gabriel Martinelli. When he came to Arsenal, he was this raw Ronaldinho type player. Obviously, he wasn't that good, but he's kind of a maverick. He wanted to do some moves, take a guy on, really take it to defense. And he was fun. And not only was he fun, he was good. The first year we blew the title, I think he had like 15 goals and 8 assists. He was very productive, damn near as productive as Bukayo, if not better. And Arteta has just slowly worn him down into Alex Iwobi. He dribbles to the byline, he turns, he cuts in, he either hucks in a cross or he keeps dribbling and lays it off. He's turned him into Iwobi. And you just don't see those players anymore. And I was never a big Ronaldinho guy, but a lot of people were. Even to this day, people love watching that guy. And those dribbles are the moments that really make you stand up as a soccer fan, and you remember them. Like I was watching that George Best 30 for 30, and they're talking about this time when he was playing for some obscure team. He's pretty washed up, but for whatever reason, he just turned back the clock, just took the defense on, dropped 3 guys, put the goal away, and was like, yeah, we won the game, and I'm George Best. And everyone who's at the game is like, I'll never forget that. Or that Dennis Bergkamp against Newcastle, flicks it on through, puts it away. And those moments are gone, and that's what makes people fall in love with soccer. That's why anyone who just had a ball, could kick it around, they develop these skills, they can go out and they can play. It wasn't, oh, you have to be a widget within a system. And I think that's kind of sad because that's kind of the romance of soccer. Granted, it wasn't always my cup of tea, but it was a lot of people's. And at the end of the day, the fans are the ones who are the reason these sports are valuable business enterprises. Like, without people watching, no one gives a fuck who the best soccer team, the best football team, the best baseball team is. Oh, TV contracts. Well, yeah, if nobody's watching, they're not going to get new TV contracts. The fans watching the game is what dictates all of this. And we're at this paradox in sports where it's pretty clear I wasn't able to find attendance figures with soccer, and also soccer is so popular. It's almost always going to be packed, especially the Premier League, that they could probably just Big Sam ball it for 90 minutes every weekend, and you'd still get 50,000 people there. It was hard to find the attendance data for soccer, and again, I don't know how telling it would be. In basketball, again, it was pretty hard to find. Baseball is pretty liberal with their data, but I think that comes with just the nature of baseball. But yeah, anyway, I think it's such an interesting paradox of, I think the leagues are going to have to step. I don't know. I don't know how we fix this. I really don't. Do leagues step in and say, hey, we have to, you can't tell people to play a certain way, and as long as it is a competition, teams are going to try to win, and whatever the best way to win is, that's what they're going to do. It's almost like the nuclear power problem. It's like, yeah, these are bad, but unless they quit, I'm not going to quit either. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at with all our sports, and I guess the MMA seems to be the last refuge of that. There seems to be no way to really quantify who's going to win a fight or anything like that, because you have Paul Craig versus Magomed Ankalaev. You can get the shit kicked out of you for 14 minutes and 55 seconds, but hey, you got that submission in and you win. Good luck trying to predict that. Anyway, I'm the Dinosaur. I'm out. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you learned something. I know it was pretty fun for me to do. Hope you liked it. I'll be getting better with the visuals over time. Hope to bring you some interesting topics, some fun discussions, and good to have you along for the ride.